Thanks for staying with us. So over the weekend, many Nigerians came out to protest as a demonstration to abolish the 1999 Constitution, amongst many other requests they had of the government. But unfortunately, these protests were rife with some types of violence, throwing of tear gas at citizens, and it was almost as though the focus and direction of the protest wasn't achieved. What are your thoughts on this? Were we able to achieve what the intention was for the protest over the weekend, or was did we totally fall short of the objectives? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us. No, you can't tweet to us. You can also send your comments to Facebook, and we'll read your comments.
Honestly.
All right, so talk about the process over the weekend. What are your thoughts? Because, I mean, for one, when I read, I think it was a 4 or 5 point agenda that was sent out on what the process was about. And it seemed laudable. It seemed like it was a direction of the average Nigerian, their thoughts and what we wanted the government to do. But then we didn't have the mass of people that we thought we would have. And I saw videos of the police trying actually to converse with some of the protesters, saying, well, we are here to protect you. Just don't let it be taken over by hoodlums. But even with that, there's still some violence that happens. So I'm thinking, what were your own total summation of the protest over the weekend?
So for me, people are scared. I was even shocked that they were able to get the number they got outside for the protest, that there was even a protest, because many people have learned that our lives don't, anything can happen. A bullet can become, they can misfire one bullet and then you hear that there was nothing that happened. You know, stories that touch can happen. So many people were careful. I got phone calls from people, please stay at home. I said, our show does not happen on that day. And everybody was really scared and didn't go out. Now, like you said, they had their point for what the protest should be about. I felt that the protest, the conversation I heard from the protest ground as posted online did not mirror what I feel our agitation should be about. It felt like it got hijacked. So the protest was insultive, and I could understand, but we must keep our emotions in check because we have a goal. If your goal is to demand for good governance, your goal is to demand for restructuring, your goal is to demand for true federalism, your goal is to demand for access to good healthcare, remove your emotion of that they will not hear you. Put your eye on the ball. So I was hearing things like Buhari must go, and I'm wondering, there is no way you would achieve any results with that statement, because we've heard before that day what the presidency said at previous interviews he did. He already feels like, he mentioned that the protester that wants to remove me from power. From what he said, any inclination towards that, every laudable request you have raised would not be taken serious. Yeah. So you must keep your eye on the ball, and I felt that the protest was hijacked, and the protest now lost the essence of why you should be protesting. And of course, there was still firing of tear gas. I did not understand why that took place in Ojota, but there was firing of tear gas. And there was a peaceful protest before.
Initially, it started out peacefully. I didn't hear of tear gas in Ojota until much later. But it happened more in Abuja. And I think there was protests also in Ondo.
Even our reporters carried the tear gas in...
Eventually, yes, they do tear gas in Ojota. Yes, Nima, your thoughts on this protest?
Mr. President must stop reacting to every call for good governance as an agitation. I think he must, whatever he needs to do, and especially his advisors, because when you hear the AG speak, you wonder, who is advising? If this is the person advising the president, obviously, where are we? Right. The AG completely forgets that he's an appointee of the people. He forgets that he's an appointed office. He talks as if he's an elected office. In fact, he has more authority than the VP. And I wonder sometimes, so Mr. President, not everybody is against your government when they ask you that prices are high, things are hard, people are talking. It's not every time that people are sponsored to do that. We know that they pay people to protest. We know that they pay people, just as people claim that they also pay for them to do your own pro-protest as against people protesting against. But not every agitation is against Mr. President. But then again, for me, those people protesting, I would never be seen with any protester, because some people came on my page. They're not protesting. I will not join voices with you asking for us to do things the wrong way. I'd rather queue up with a Jimmy Disu asking people that, well, after we have achieved this democracy that people lost their lives for us to get, are we now asking ourselves that we should not have a democracy again? In a democratic setting, you have elections. That's what you have. So if you call for good governance by the government and it doesn't work, it's not Buhari must go. That is the way out. If you want to do Buhari must go, ask your representatives to remove him by impeachment.
Exactly.
Let them find a ground for misconduct. I think people should sit down, educate themselves on the constitutional ways to go about removal, impeachment, changing of government, and we will enjoy this, this thing called governance.
Thank you very much.
If we cannot do that.
I mean, I'll come to BC in a minute, but you see, that's where, because when people expect us to get emotional, that they want us to jump on the bandwagon, it's always important for us to remind them that we're in a democracy. There are ways. You can scream all you want from here to tomorrow. Shout, scream, right? But the truth is that it's not going to happen. We've seen an example. It happened October last year when we all protested for NSAS. It happened. How far did it get us? Nowhere. So the point is that there are ways of doing this thing. How many of us have our voters' cards? How many of us showed up for ordinary local government elections?
Most of these people protesting,
people did not show up.
Refuse to go and canvass for a change. Okay, we don't want this president anymore, or we don't even want this party. Me, I will do door to door. Take that initiative. See the way they did it abroad. It worked. And when they failed, they'll allow Trump out with 4 years. Trump was nobody shouted Trump must go. They stayed the course. So when you have a democracy, it's institutions, and encouraging and defending your institutions is the best thing that can happen to any country. We must have proper institutions.
So I personally do not encourage any form of protest anymore because it's been abused over time. So they say when the purpose of something is not known, abuse is inevitable. We come out to protest, but we do not come out in unity. We do not speak with one voice. You just find out that we have agreed that we are coming out to follow this 4 or 3 or 5 agenda, and you go there and you see 7, 8, 9, and people are coming up with different things. And then, because the youths are, there's what they call a mixed multitude. People will obviously use that opportunity to, take advantage of the situation and start causing mayhem. So, in one hand, people are actually protesting for what is right. On the other hand, people are beginning to destroy things. So, we have seen that the protest is not working for us anymore. I think it's time for young people to ask themselves, what exactly do we want? Do we want to solve these issues that we have? How best can we table it and make them listen? Is it the voters' card that we need right now? Do we need to come out and participate in government? Is that a way to get in and change? Because you cannot change from the outside. If we keep saying every so-and-so date, let us stand and protest, every so-and-so date, we are not heading anywhere with that sort of, it's not working for us because there are people who are waiting to take advantage and cause a lot of things. So for now, can we avoid the protest and re-educate ourselves? What exactly do we want? Those young people on the street that are being used to scatter some of the protests, can we start having conversations with them to understand that we're supposed to work with one voice? Very important.
So, BC, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm against protest because protest is actually constitutional. It's part of what we're supposed to do. It's part of the democracy. Protesting is part of an electoral process. It's part of the whole gamut of things, the options you can do. But what you have said is that we've been protesting for a while. You can't do the same thing and expect a different result. So we're saying that protest is good, but also let's go back and remodel how we go about it so that we get that change. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about the protest that happened on Saturday. Toko, you're going to say something to add to that.
Another thing that I realized with the protest is that there are many people that had good intentions, that like they had their agenda. Then I saw a protest of people a video of a bus conductor that was showing his shoe that, how can you say I am lazy? I went to school, I finished from Polytechnic, I didn't get a job, now I'm a bus conductor, I bought this shoe, look at how the shoe is like worn out, like I'm a very hard-working Nigerian, you have not given me opportunities. And when we approach, and that is a legitimate grievance to raise, that this government is not giving me opportunities to excel. And I believe that our government needs to create a channel to listen to the voice of the people and not politicize every complaints against them because we now, the statement is that these people, and they're your people. I felt really bad at the responses that many people have got, many of our politicians have given to the protest in that they are pointing figure. They are not they. They are us. They are a reflection of the society.
They are your children.
So until we take ownership of the struggles of the less privileged in society, they are your weakest link. No matter how good your infrastructure is, as long as you have that unruly person that feels disgruntled, the massive, beautiful edifice you have built, he will go there and destroy it. They will break the iron from the road and take it away. So I feel that the protests are good. We must remain in line with what we have agreed we will be protesting on. And our leaders need to listen to us and distract them, take away the noise that is always present at protests like this.
I mean, there were like 14 critical demands of the protesters. Let me just bring up about 6 of them. It says, number 1, the abolishment of the 1999 Constitution, an end to terrorism, banditry, and insecurity, the sack of the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, that's Issa Pantami, the immediate freedom of all detained while protesting, that's the NSAS, justice to the victims of the NSAS also, and a revert of the electricity tariffs, fuel price, and party deregistration. So these are issues. Now, my question, therefore, is that these are demands, but are there other ways we could have actually achieved this? I know with the Issa Pantami, many people came to Twitter and saying, you have to take this man up. Unfortunately, he fell on deaf ears. So he was appointed. So obviously, there's nothing we can do. It's the prerogative of the presidency for his appointment. But there are other things. Release of the NSAS, stop harassing them. The fuel price crisis, the issues of electricity. These are legitimate demands. So are there other ways? So, I mean, that's why I say protesting is important. At the same time, if you want real change, it's really with the voters' card.
I think Nima can lecture us on the other ways because we have constitutional backing for repealing some things that she will be able to guide us on what to do.
Unfortunately, the constitution that we have has ways that it can be renewed and amended. And we cannot leave a lacuna to have a new constitution. That's where there's a problem. People that say, just abolish, abolish. So we'll have a vacant place for us. The constitution, we have to follow what is in the constitution.
Must we?
Must we?
We must. That's the conversation. Because Nigerians, I'll let you respond. I'm trying to, what Nigerians are saying, that listen, we are the human beings that put this constitution together. And we're saying, we these same human beings, we're saying, this constitution cannot work. We want to abolish it.
So I want that was imposed on us. Yes. Who imposed it?
Military.
We had a military government. And they couldn't have a lacuna, just as I said before, to hand over. There has to be a ground. Everything has to have a foundation. And so they have a constitution that they put in place, and we had a foundation. And the moment we came in, to get our voices as one, to do the right thing, became difficult. Because the person where they chop, they look the person where they hungry, say, he hates me, they bad-belay me. And that's how we didn't get what we wanted. The people who were in the National Assembly have their interests separate from that of the people. We could have had an amendment that would eventually reflect
within the
what we want. Within the first dispensation. So if it's becoming tougher by the day.
If the national confab, for example, was legitimized, could they have then moved to abolish?
So the national confab had their resolutions.
Right.
We just needed the National Assembly to say, vote to adopt.
Yes.
Okay. And change whatever sections we are moving and saying, okay, let's even give powers, make this section chapter 2 of the Constitution judiciable, so that people can go to court and sue for the rights
of that. Should our protest now be that, can we implement the national can we protest that the House of Assembly, Senate and House of Reps should implement the
or go back to the 1963 Constitution, which people are saying.
So you have for my own constituency, for instance, we have our senators, our House of Reps members recycling themselves in power, and this change has not come. Next election, what should you do?
It's too far.
No, it's not too far. It's not, because it's too far. Now we take reach 2020.
Let me take this call from Kazim. Kazim, are you there?
Remove the.
Kazim, are you there? Hello, Kazim, from the UK.
Mariah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
Morning.
Good morning, Tokwe, and good morning, Lima.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's very easy, very quick and simple. What we need to do in Nigeria, we just keep protesting, keep repeating the same thing all the time, right? But we have lost the touch of actually the citizens, the youth, which is our strength. We have actually lost the touch.
I can't hear him.
To the poll. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, the volume is really low.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, I can.
What I'm saying is, the strength of our position is a good, which is about 65% of our population.
Yeah.
Now, these protests have actually not done anything.
Yes.
There has been no result. It's been hijacked by hoodlums. Now, what we need to do is organize yourself, go to the polls during the election and take out this government if you want it. Because that's the only way, that's the only tool. The simple local government elections, the youth are not, they can't even, they are not participating. So if it's not on you get to the federal, you need to start from the grassroots. The people that are representing you from your work, the councillors, are they the real right people? Are they the right person that is going to represent you up to the local government chairman? So if you don't have this conversation now, we will just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just going to continue like that with any cycle. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Kazim. Yes, BC, go ahead.
Posterity will judge every action that any leader takes.
Yes.
You may think you have the powers right now, you can do and undo, but it will wait for you at the future. I would like to, advise our president and our leaders to pay attention to the cry of the people. They say that the voice of the people is the voice of God. If somebody is saying that this is not working for us, we are the ones that are bearing the brunt. All of the decisions you are taking, at least put us into consideration so that lives can be better for us. And you find a way to politicize this that is not coming from your own political party. Just find a way to push it around. Posterity is watching. And the children will read the history of how you ruled during your time. So we need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
I also want to appeal. Right now, a lot of people still feel that protesting is like the way forward. If you don't make noise, if you don't come out, the government will not listen. I know that the youth have a lot of energy, but it's time for us to match that energy with wisdom. There is nothing wrong in waiting to follow due process. So right now, the way we are using let us use that to go and get our voters card. Let us join political parties. Let us ensure that we hold our representatives accountable so that we can make that change from the inside.
Let me take Sunday. Sunday, are you there from Ogun State? Sunday, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Please, let me say this. I don't want to buy into the idea of some people are not sponsored to protest. I don't want to buy into that. The only thing is that we misplace our priority in this country. It's as if we don't know exactly what we have. I cited one example, maybe yesterday or so, that when I was having a conversation with someone, that when you have a 10-year-old son and he's crying, you are asking the son, what do you want? And he didn't say anything, just crying. What you as a parent will do until one outsider comes and that person is answering, what do you want to that boy? And the boy said, I'm hungry. You as parents, what will we do to that boy now? Is it not that you will give him knock or something? We don't know. We know we are hungry in this country. Something is going wrong, but we don't have one voice. So that is the problem.
Did you hear?
Yes, so
what did he say? I didn't
so he's saying that when you have a child crying all the time, as a parent, and you're wondering, asking the child, what do you want? But the child just keeps crying. Eventually, an outsider makes the child ask the child the same question, and then he says to the person, I'm hungry. So what he's even simply saying is that the protesters, there's a loud noise that we're all making, but nobody's making sense.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe when we now get a platform outside, we're itemizing the issues, and we're not talking directly to the parents who can change things. So protests should have a clear agenda. I agree with that. But I wanted to quickly say earlier about the issue of our history. So what the damage that removal of our history has cost us is too wide for us that we're paying for now. We also have we need government, every time we are sitting in those offices to remember that the selfishness of our predecessors got us here.
Yes.
And that our own further selfishness to quickly take our own share of the cake, as we like to call it, is why we have this problem. Protesters have clear issues. When I come out and I'm shouting, satellite tank farms, bad roads, everything, they are realities. And so when I see a responsive government come and there's a bit of change, I would relax. When people come out and they say, no, we have hardship, food is tough, they are killing people, elders are eating away farmers.
They are genuine
produce.
concerns.
The question is, Nima,
into
what
the
he said,
issues.
if you don't answer the agitation, then someone like Sunday Igboho will take and listen to those agitations and combat it.
Politicize
Something
it.
like IPOB will happen. They will listen to the agitations of the Southeast and convert
politicize
it.
it. Yeah.
So you as a leader must hear your people's complaints and listen and
answer
address
them.
them.
Let me go on a break.
Issues immediately
Let me go on a
part-time.
quick break. When I come back, we continue this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.